7 p.m.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, up first we have public comment and recognition of guests. And we received one public comment, Shari Eubank. Come on up.
So anyway, hi everybody. I am here to ask you to consider paying the substitute teachers more money. We are currently making $135 a day, and that reduces down to $18 an hour. Not that I figured that out or anything, but Illinois minimum wage is $15 an hour. And we have credentials. Most of us have taught before, the ones that are good anyway, have taught before. And I'm just teasing you, of course. And I'm not that I'm competitive either, but Muhammad pays $150. And my youngest granddaughter plays volleyball in Muhammad, and I am irked by the way I'm treated because I'm from Blue Ridge. And I would just love to say, yes, I sub, but they pay us more than you pay your subs. So I am here this evening. I've worked this up, actually driving in the car. I thought today, coming back from Champaign, I thought it would be cute to ask you, hi Jonathan, that you should give us $155 because it would be $5 more than Muhammad. But then when I was saying, is my hair better up or down? How do I get rid of all these wrinkles? What do I do, you know? When I'm doing that, I'm going, wait, $160 is $20 an hour. My granddaughter is working in a food service thing, making 20 bucks an hour. So I just decided I was going to ask you. The last time we got a raise, we were making 110. Not that I've been here that long. I'm wearing my T-shirt that I threw a fit about. But we were working at $110. We got a $25 raise, which is now $135. So if I asked you for a $25 raise, that would be $160. And let us not even consider inflation. So that is my spiel. I appreciate very much for you listening to me, and I hope that you can consider how much it means to be working in the place where you could go down the road and make more, but when your heart is here, it feels like that's not really important. The kids that are here are really important to me, and I don't want to go anywhere else, but I feel kind of I feel I should ask you for more money. So thank you very much for listening.
Up next, we have presentations and FFA.
So I know when you heard from us in May, we came and did our annual report and an update on what we do over the year. However, since then, we've had some pretty exciting news. So in June, just a few weeks or about a month after we came presented here, we were at
on talking points is in your board packet. And then we have committee reports.
Last month, we had the Finance Committee met August 7th, to discuss the QFR for FY25. We also looked at the tentative budget, the first draft of that. Also had some conversation about some investments and interests and kind of how that process will work. And that's something over the next couple of months that I want to dive into a little bit more deeply to see how our money is invested and to see what kind of interest we can get to kind of support the district.
And then we have administrative reports. Brian?
Okay, so several things I want to share. They're all in my report, but we do have a secure entry project that's coming along very well. The unit office and the high school entrances are ready to go. Still working on Snyder and BRHHS, but we are close, and hopefully within the next week or two, we'll have those complete. I don't know if you were able to see, but we put out some information with a video of how to enter the buildings, the secure entry videos, so that all of our stakeholders were able to kind of get a general idea. Additionally, put out some information about the new Raptor Safe app. Raptor is the name of the program that we use that kind of controls that entry process. If you haven't, it's very simple. You download the app, you enter the information needed. It gives you a QR code, and so every time you come to the building, you're able to take your QR code, put it behind the iPad, it sees who you are, and it allows you to print off a name tag, and you're ready to go once the secretary gets you through the building, gets you through that door. So it is a very simple process once you get going. Hopefully the videos and the online tutorials, provided some people with some basic information, so we're ready to go. Football field project is underway. It's steadily taking shape. So we've got just a few parts left. Irrigation system is installed. Septic system is installed. Bleachers are ready to go. Sod installation is underway. That is in the process. So we'll see how that turns out here. We'll know more hopefully in the next few days. Our goal and hope is to have a huge unveiling on September 12th for our homecoming game. That is planned. For those of you who don't know, it is our 40th anniversary of Blue Ridge, and so kind of looking at a theme of honoring our past, inspiring our future, 40 years strong, and so we're excited about that. We're just hoping that we have an opponent to play with. Mr. Easter will talk a little bit more about that when his turn is up. So also include a link in there to the new strategic plan. Obviously that was a lot of work that we did back in January and for the last several months to kind of talk about our commitments to students and what we want to see as our roadmap for success for our district. That's in there. That'll go out to the newsletter here soon. I also just put a blurb in there, just, this was our first day of school. It was awesome. Our admin team has done an absolute amazing job in planning and preparing to make today a wonderful day. Just as people are listening and so on, just be patient with our drivers and bus route drivers the first few weeks, right? Shuttles and things, people are still learning where those are at. It takes a while for people to transition from bus to bus and all those stops. So, our drivers are trying to be extra cautious to ensure everyone is safe. So just give a little grace. We may be 5-10 minutes late those first few weeks. Okay. Any questions for me? All right, we're actually going to switch it up this time. Can we go with Mr. Easter first this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
I noticed it was flip-flopped in here. I was like, oh.
Because now they can copy all my witty.
Or at least they can't take all your stuff. You used to say, well, they've all talked about it, so.
Yes, Paige can go first next time. So Mr. Payton already stole everything that I was going to talk about. I'm just kidding. Obviously, FFA hit on some of the stuff. We've had some big FFA news this year, and Jacqueline stumbled a little bit, but she meant to say we were one of the top 10 teams in the country, which is just really fantastic stuff. And got to try to figure out how to get over and see that competition in Indianapolis come late October, early November, for sure. This week everything's been coming at us fast and furious. All of our fall sports started on Monday. Numbers look really good for a lot of our programs. Some good energy in there for sure. Last night here we had our first night, and I kind of forgot. For those of you that are here, I only pulled out half the bleachers because in years past, our freshman class last year, our freshman class wasn't very big, and our attendance at that hadn't been great. But last night we had really great attendance from our freshman group, and families, and the bleachers were packed. Even though, and I thought, man, I should have pulled out another couple rows. So it was great to see, and great energy, and the teachers all really enjoyed seeing the energy from those kids. And so then transferring to today, it carried over, and it was a great first day. We have some new things going on at the high school this year that kids got to experience. One, the phones have always been an issue with in classes, and we've just kept trying different things. And so this year, the new thing we're trying is we've got something hanging on the wall for the kids to put their phones in when they walk into classrooms. So we started that expectation today. I know it's the first day. I know it was short periods and everything, but man, it was really cool to walk around and every class see just engagement from all the kids and not, the distractions and everything. So I thought that was fantastic. Another new thing we did also is we shortened our passing periods from 4 minutes to 3 minutes, which maybe that doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a significant chunk. The goal was that adding 1 minute to each class gets more instructional time, 5 minutes a week, 20 minutes a month. I mean, it adds up over the course of the year. And we're finding that you can get anywhere in this building in 2 minutes, even at a leisurely stroll. So we hope that continues to be a positive change for us. So, yeah, and the only other thing Mr. Payton referenced was we've had lots of discussion in the past week or two regarding homecoming. It's early, it's scheduled for early in the year, which is always intimidating, but then when you're getting a new stadium, a new football field, that can be scary. And then when your opponent that you have scheduled contacts you last week on Wednesday and says, hey, we're not going to have a team this year, that's kind of a big deal. So Mr. Kirkton and I we have some irons in the fire, so to speak, with some possible replacements. We believe that there's a very good possibility we'll find somebody for that day, but because of some other issues that Mr. Payton has referenced, I would say that it's kind of iffy right now as to whether homecoming is going to happen on the 12th, and I'm just being completely straightforward and honest. There's lots of issues there. So, but maybe everything's going to come together, and by this time next week, I'll be singing a different tune. I don't know, but just know that we're doing our best to move forward with that if it's going to be something that can happen. So, questions?
I always like to give credit where credit is due, and I appreciate you and Mr. Huddleston getting ahead of the cell phone thing. It stalled in the state legislature this year. I guess it's on, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was some movement, but it got pushed aside. So, as a former substitute teacher, I can tell you it's going to be a very good thing.
Yep.
Because it takes the burden off the teacher of enforcement.
Yep, that's our hope, because we saw that teachers. That's just one more thing for teachers to worry about that they have to deal with, and they've got enough to deal with, and they shouldn't have to focus on that. So, we told our teachers yesterday at our staff meeting, just tell the kids, blame it on me and Mr. Kirkton. It's our doing. We're the ones making the rules, and we're saying the teachers have to do that, so therefore the kids have to do it. So we're the bad guys. So hopefully that's a good thing.
So not to bring up the touchy subject again, but about homecoming, so what is the plan if we don't get another team? Is it to move back to Martinville, or?
Yeah, we talking with the coaches this afternoon. We do have 3 other home dates that we could consider. I mean, if I'm being brutally honest, there's a possibility we are not able to play a game on that field this year at all. So then I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. Mr. Payton can talk more to that later.
Yeah, we can touch base real quick. So we looked at the sod today, and we just have some concerns with some of the sod and where it's going to be, and if it's going to be ready at that point. And the rain, the lack of rain, and even with watering a lot, there's some things that we contacted Vernon Jones, and hopefully we'll have a meeting tomorrow and just see and kind of get an idea of where we're at with the sod and the seams, and there's some gaps and different things. And so we're just not sure 100%, and we know we need to have a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks for it to sit, and really that's in kind of good condition. The other thing it creates, though, obviously, if we can't have a homecoming, we case, so there's some conversations and things that we need to work through. This all kind of came about today.
Yeah. So, yeah, assuming we get the sod issue fixed, and I'm no sod expert, so I don't know. I just know what I'm looking at right now, and it doesn't look great. So, if that does get resolved, and by the end of September it looks good, then yeah, we could look at, yeah, we've got a game there. What is it, the 26th, I think, of September, and then I think another one either the following week or 2 weeks after that. We could do that, but the whole logistics of how soon do we need to let people know about the parade and dismissals and all the activities for that week, and I mean there's a lot going into that. And like you said, it's the 40th anniversary of Blue Ridge. Yeah, we were really excited about that, the unveiling of the new stadium, and it was all bright and shiny and new, and yeah.
And there's still a chance, we'll
Yep.
see. We just don't know yet, and we'll know more information hopefully tomorrow, and then we'll be able to make some decisions, and we'll let you guys know as information becomes available.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Good evening, everybody. We had a pretty exciting registration this year. We, as of today, we have 17 new students in the Mansfield campus. Now, as far as a net loss goes, I don't know what that exactly is. We don't remove kids from our rosters until we get records requests from other schools, and we've got a couple hanging out there, but we are right now hanging at around 240, high 240s. And so at the end of my first year here, so this is the start of my fourth year, then my first year, we were under 200. We were at like 188 or so, 189, I think I remember on my school improvement plan putting that down. So we are super excited to keep growing in the Mansfield campus. And yeah, just welcoming new families. Got to see them at first night. We had a great turnout. Just been a real positive energy in the school, and a lot of that has to do also with our returning staff, and then of course the new staff that you guys approved, and so I appreciate that. Lots of energy from them. We have Melanie Kale, who's coming over from Farmer City here, working last year. She's our new 6th grade teacher. We've got Leah Shaddix, Mrs. Leah Shaddix. She's a new special education teacher coming over. She is just an incredible energy on the intermediate side of our building. Brooke Weiss, so she's our 5th grade teacher. You guys approved an added 5th grade section last year, and so she has been super dynamic. And then, of course, Mr. Colin Norsworthy, we are sharing him with the Mansfield campuses as far as music goes, but he's going to bring back 7th and 8th grade chorus that we haven't had since I've been there, and we're in the process of recruiting those kids to fill up those sections. And then last but not least, Mrs. Jennifer Steiner. And so the kids she's just got so much energy. Really looking forward to bringing some hands-on things to our science program in the junior high. So we're super excited about all the new things happening this year. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about our sports. We've had a great start to our softball team. They're currently 3-0. We had a game with Clinton out here last night, but lightning repeatedly striking kept us from getting past the 2nd inning. So we're still 3-0 because it was a no-count game. Our boys baseball team had their first game tonight over in Hayworth. They started off strong with a 1-0, and it didn't go well after that, but they are working hard, and they continue to grow that program. So we're excited about our fall sports teams. Brought on some new coaches for those 2 teams. We got Rusty Wooling helping us out as the assistant coach in softball. Adam Weedman and Kevin Evans are volunteering and helping out with that team. It really helps to have some of those volunteers in there, especially when you're looking at skill development with these young athletes. You can see a lot of the work they put in over the summer and summer ball, and just carrying those things on so that those fundamentals get strong and they stay pretty competitive. And then Rick Noble this year is joining our baseball team as the assistant coach. So super excited, and our kids are excited, and they're having fun. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Ryan, thanks for putting me last. Hi, everybody. I'm really glad to see all of your faces. So I'm just going to say that if you need your daily quotient or quota of hugs. You can just come right next door. That's pretty much all we did today. We had an amazing first day. Typical, snafus here and there, but it was wonderful. And the energy level in the room today, or in that school today and last night at first night, was unmatched. Our PIE organization's incredible, and so they came and put all these great letters out, and they put a big balloon arch up, and families were just taking pictures everywhere. It was wonderful. It was so fun to see. One of the things we started this year that I think will probably continue next year as well in partnership with PIE was popsicles with the principals. So Mrs. Diener and I met the families, it was last Wednesday, I think it was, invited the families to come out to the playground and have a popsicle and play with their friends and meet me and see everybody, and it was a blast. I was finally starting to get a few names down, and then today when they were coming in, I had a few more down. So my goal is by the end of next week, we'll have every name down. So you can ask me next time I'm here. I want to say thank you to all of you for the approval of adding another aide. We've had a couple of students move in with some pretty significant needs on their IEPs, and I know that sometimes when Ryan might come in with requests for money, you do have to take that seriously, and I just thank you for actually remembering that we need to put kids first, and it really is filling that need. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to meet those kids' needs without that aid, so thank you. We've received a few applications. We want to let the students kind of get in and get in the habit of coming to school to see exactly what kind of support we're going to need, and then we'll do some interviews in a couple weeks and hire somebody full-time, hopefully. Hopefully they'll take it. I do want to give some credit to our special education teachers and to our kindergarten teachers, because our extended school year program and our kindergarten jumpstart program really helped keep our kids kind of in the loop of learning throughout the summer. So they just worked really hard over the summer to keep kids engaged and make sure that our kids kept learning. And then our teachers this week, I really appreciate that we have that 220 dismissal, because our teachers use that time to get some really important trainings done. So today after school, our teachers went to trainings on apraxia, dyspraxia, and sensory processing disorder. Tomorrow we're gonna have trainings on communication devices. Friday we're gonna have trainings on Crisis Go, and I just really appreciate that we're able to provide that time for teachers. So, as we're thinking about schedules for next year, if we can kind of keep that time in there, that would be wonderful. That was a lot. Any questions? Nothing. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I definitely want to go first next month because Sunny stole half of my trainings that I was going to talk about. It's okay, you're new. Okay, just a couple things that I wanted to touch on. Mr. Payton, I think, mentioned last month in his report, and I also mentioned in my report this month, that we are postponing our Ed Pathway dual credit courses until January because the money has not been released yet. Mr. Payton and Mr. Easter and I had a meeting with the ISB representative. She assures us it's there, it's just a matter of it getting released. So we will get those 2 dual credit courses going hopefully in January. But all of our other dual credit courses and AP courses that we added this year are up and going. I met with our instructors yesterday to make sure that they had everything that they needed. Something that was kind of exciting is I had to order more books for our dual credit English classes, which means we have more students in them. We went from having 1 section last year to now we have 2 sections. So that's pretty exciting. So we'll continue to look for ways to grow there. Like Sunny referenced, we've had lots of trainings in the last week and a half. We had our induction day last Tuesday. We had our 7 new staff members that they referenced earlier. It was just a good chance for them to meet other people who are new to the district, meet their mentors, meet staff members, hear a little bit about what it's like to be a knight, and all of the important information, like how do I log into my email, and we talked about what do you do when you need a substitute. We all had lunch together, and it was just a nice time to really get to know those teachers. Other trainings that we have coming up, we've done CPR training, thank you, Jason. We have a Down syndrome training. We had autism training yesterday. Like Sunny mentioned, we had sensory processing, apraxia, dyspraxia, alternative communication devices. Our special ed teachers and title teachers at Snyder had hand-to-mind training, which is a hands-on curriculum for students, just to give them a visual when they're working through both math and ELA concepts, and that training went really well. And then last month, I feel like I kind of ended on a down note because like, oh, we're not getting that grant, we're not getting this grant. However, Mr. Payton sat in on a meeting or received communication that we think we might get our Title II and REAP grants still this year. So that's exciting. I'm anxious to see when that comes through. Like I said last time, our Title II pays for all of our after-hours collaboration for teachers and trainings, our math coaches that we've had in the past. That all comes out of Title II money. And then our Title I and Title IV grants for this fiscal year has been approved. So that is very exciting. And I didn't add it to my report, but I also completed all of our FY25 annual reports. So we should be up to date on that. So any questions?
About the funding source for the dual credit.
Sure.
What is that source? Can you elaborate a little bit, and the delay? What's going on there?
Yeah, it's just it's a state. We're getting the funds from the state.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's just kind of tied up. They really didn't give us a lot of information or reason, really. Just it hasn't been released yet, and we tried to push her a little bit to at least get a little bit more information, but she just kept assuring it's coming, but it's tied up. So, yeah, sorry about that. I wish I could tell you more, but they were pretty minimal. Yeah.
It's kind of frozen at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
The money is there, but
Yeah.
we don't know when it will be released, basically what they kept referring to, and that's when we just started the problem
Yeah.
solving, saying it sounds like spring's gonna be.
Right. And the plan was, so we were going to have, one of those dual credit courses in the fall and then one in the spring. So if we have to move them all to the spring, we could still do that because one of those courses was a 3-hour credit course and one was a 2-hour credit course. So maybe one course will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the other will be Tuesday, Thursday, which isn't ideal, but we want to give that opportunity to our students. So we're going to do whatever we can to make it happen. So, yeah. Other questions? Okay, thank you.
Do you want to? We're not used to anyone else giving a report. This is great.
Hello to everyone.
Sorry. Just push the button.
Well, hello. I am Nick Front. Is that, I guess it's working.
Yeah.
I'm the new special ed administrator. I have a long story of how I ended up here. So I'm born and raised in Cerro Gordo. But after graduating from Cerro Gordo High School, I went to school in Lebanon, McHenry College. So I lived and worked in St. Louis and then ended up in Washington State the last 12 years. And then in the last couple months, I moved home to our family farm back in Cerro Gordo. My family and I are back there helping with the family, and while my brother runs the farm, I went to college because I worked on the farm. But happy to be here. Spent about 14 years district level administration, teaching, learning, federal programs, special education. I was a special education teacher by training, but saw this opportunity to work here, and it mirrors the district I worked in most recently, about 600 kids. Farming community, but they fished and raised cranberries, which is interesting. Saw similarities in cultures and people, just different products. It was a great opportunity to learn about people on the coast and that experience. Also worked in districts of 20,000 kids, Hazelwood, worked in Bellevue next to Seattle. So very diverse experience in special education and school district administration. So, but happy to be back in my hometown area, and a couple kids in school, sophomore, my daughter Nora, and a 7th grader, Hunter, and I have a 20-year-old still in college in Bellingham, Washington at Western University. And so, and my wife is working in Monticello School District as a re-engagement specialist. So yeah, just back in the area, excited to be here, and been spending the last few days getting to know staff, my way to schools and a way around school buildings. And I tell you, it's a beautiful campus. I'm just so impressed. And I was talking earlier about the middle school and its expansion, and how it's got the little bit of the nostalgia on one end and the beautiful addition on the other end. And I can mirror some of the sentiments I've heard about the staff, the energy and the excitement around working with kids. So I'm really excited to be here and looking forward to getting to know you guys and the kids in the community. And I think there's a lot of great opportunities here. So any questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. The remaining administrative reports are in your board packet. Up next, we have approval of consent items. Are there any comments or questions on consent? If not, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items listed on attachment A as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Yeagle and Sid.
Yes.
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 Yes. Up next is old business. First item is approval of bid for HLS Ag and Industrial Tech shop windows.
All right, so this is a project that came out of our HLS visit that we had in 2022. So this is for a window replacement in both the ag and industrial tech piece. Some of the reporting was that the exterior windows were deteriorating, fascia was deteriorating, they're becoming really non-operational. And so we did a bid process. There were 2 bids that came out of the project. You can see those numbers there. It's about a $20,000 difference. Actually, when we talked to IGW, they felt like the Schumacher bid was really right where they would have suggested it to be. So I'm recommending that we move forward with the Schumacher building to complete the window installation. Any questions?
What's the time frame once we accept a bid?
Yeah, so they're looking at the installation, the removal, and the replacement happening in October. It should be about 2 weeks, is what they said. So I know that Rusty has talked a little, is working on talking with both Scott and Jacqueline. Actually talked to Jacqueline today. There won't be much impact to the room, so a lot of the work will be done on the outside of the building, but there could be some moments where there's some noise and so on. Jacqueline said that she was fine with that, and it shouldn't be a big issue, so.
Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, I need a motion and a second to approve the bid from Schumacher Building for the HLS Ag and Industrial Tech window installation for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Jason and Sid.
Yes.
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 Yes. Up next is approval of unit office HVAC design work with GHR.
All right, so we've been having this conversation for a little while about the HVAC system. We actually met Director of Facilities meeting last month, I believe it was. Just had some dialogue. You know, we felt like that $8,000 design was a little bit too expensive from GHR. Rusty was able to go back and get that fee reduced down to $4,500. They would be able to give us a design to make sure that our project is compliant, kind of meeting all safety regulations. I feel like they kind of met pretty close to what we were asking. I think we were hoping to be 4,500 I think is a solid number. So I would move that we approve and move forward with GHR designing this project.
Are there any questions? Okay. If not, I need a motion and a second to approve the unit office HVAC designed by GHR for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So moved. Second.
Larson and Sid.
Yes.
Yes.
Jonathan Martin,
Yes.
Josh Hunt,
Yes.
Jonathan Gable,
Yes.
Jason Mullen,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. And for those that aren't normally here, it feels weird that I keep doing that. Because we have two Jonathans, I call them by their last names. I'm like, I don't know if people are thinking, gosh, she's awful. Like, they all know, so it's fine. Okay, up next, we have the approval of asbestos abatement for HLS Ag and Industrial Arts Window Project.
Yeah, we should have switched those in order, but anyways, the asbestos abatement is just a result of what happens when we do the window replacement. There's some asbestos that needs to be abated for that project to move forward. We actually received one bid for the project, it was at 26.5. But in order for us to do this process, we need to move forward, so I recommend that we approve and move forward with the asbestos abatement.
Any questions? Okay, if not, I need a motion and a second to approve the asbestos abatement for HLS Ag and Industrial Art Window Project for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So moved. Second.
Jason and Sid.
David Parrish,
Yes.
Jonathan Martin,
Yes.
Josh Hunt,
Yes.
Jonathan Gable,
Yes.
Jason Mullen,
Yes.
Dave Enger,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. My new business. First item is discussion and approval of pre-K storage shed.
Okay, so there's a lot here. So at Snyder Elementary, you've probably noticed, or maybe you haven't, but there are two old sheds that sit behind the playground. Those sheds have been there for quite some time and have deteriorated quite a bit over the last several years. You know, things are rotting, they're not in good shape. What we would like to do, for a couple of reasons. One, we would like to basically look at the design and approval of a new shed that would go in there. We're looking at something around 16 by 20. So we need two things from this. Well, number one, we just need more storage space. There's not much storage space that we have back there. We have a lot of pre-K items and a lot of other playground items that just need additional space. This project is kind of exciting for two reasons. One, it allows us to have that storage space, and number two, instead of purchasing, you know, a pre-made design shed, you know, that we would pay between $10,000 and $12,000 with, we would like to work with Scott Tungate and the Industrial Art Program to build and kind of leave their legacy on the playground. And so if you look down there, originally we thought that we had some design specs from RP Lumber. We actually do not. So we reached out to IGW and Scott Walker, which you don't see on here, but they will design and help us do that for $2,000. So that would be a $2,000 additional cost on top of this to make sure it's all compliant and permitting is done. But the RP Lumber package is around $9,500. Mike Brandt would work on the concrete work, shed removal, excavating, all of that stuff, around $11,500. Total project cost will be under $24,000. But it's something that, number one, we need the space. Those buildings are deteriorating. Number two, I think it's a great authentic learning opportunity for our high school students to kind of experience that. Not only are they going to learn from the process, but they're going to have something that they're going to leave behind for a very long time that they'll have pride in. Any questions?
That's great. When would this take place at?
Well, as soon as we can get it moving. Yeah, so, I mean, basically, once we get the design specs from IGW, talk to Scott, and get everything ordered, and we can realistically be starting, you know, in September.
Any questions? No? If there are no questions, I need a motion and a second to approve the pre-K shed project for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So
Was that with the,
It'll be with the $2,000 design, yeah, so we may need to adjust that just a little bit,
I'll put to approve the pre-K shed project, including
including the
the design
IGW.
work.
Yeah, design work, yeah. Thank you.
You have that in there, Christine? As presented. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was like, wait, what's that? Okay, so Josh and Yeagle.
Jonathan Martin,
yes.
Josh Hunt,
Yes.
Jonathan Gable,
Yes.
Jason Mullen,
Yes.
Dave Enger,
Yes.
David Parrish,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. Up next is Press 119, first reading.
All right, so I put some background information. This is the first reading. Issue is quite short. Majority of the items are categorized as reviewing and monitoring. Not a whole lot of big updates. I mean, policy committee, do you have any comments with
No, the changes were rather minimal.
Yeah, the only thing I added in there, I don't know if we want to look at adopting the language in relation to board, kind of board ethics. You know, there's some information in there like, let me pull it up real quick so I have the exact terminology here. But one of the things that you can add to your board policy is a line that states, a board member who fails to abide by the oath of office or the code may be subject to action by board, including but not limited to formal censure or referral to the regional superintendent for removal from office under board policy 2.60. I mean, that's something you're welcome to do. I just feel like as a board and as admin in our district and every employee, we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And so to me, that's just language that can help support that. But I can really move either way with that.
But without that, there's no defined process.
Right.
I didn't think it would hurt to add that.
Okay, so there's no vote on that until next month. Up next, we have review and approval of the tentative FY26 budget.
Okay. I'm actually going to include the QFR on here too first, and then we'll talk about the budget second, okay? It's going to be really hard to read that, so in front of you, you have a document here. It's got this big highlighted rectangle at the bottom. We're just going to kind of go through pretty quick, ask if you have questions. If you look in column B, as you go down, you can see the funds that are there, those 9 funds that are listed. In the top row, the Ed Fund, O&M, Transportation, Working Cash, those are considered open funds or your operating funds. They're called that because that's what makes the school tick, right? Education are the salaries, benefits, teachers, teaching, supplies that we utilize. O&M obviously is the building and everything that operates, supplies, energy, etc. Transportation is how we get kids to school. And then working cash is a fund that we can utilize really as a, I don't want to say a savings account, but it can be utilized in any of the other funds with transfers and abatements. Down at the bottom of your closed funds, 30 is bond and interest, IMRF, and Social Security. 60 is site and construction, 80 tort, and 90 is health, life, safety. If you move over to column D, to your right, those are your audited fund balances. So basically, at the end of the year 23-24, that is what the audited balances were in each one of those fund accounts. Those are all pretty healthy, 8.12 million in Ed, 3 million in O&M as you go down. Really healthy numbers there. And when you look at E, those are your proposed revenues. So when we did the amended budget, those are the proposed revenues for the year in both operating and closed. F is your actual revenues. So that's actually how much we brought in last year during the 24-25 school year. If you look in the Ed Fund, 9.2 million is the revenue we brought. O&M was 960,000. Transportation, 1 million. Working cash, 113,000. Bond and interest, 922,000. IMRF, 249. 3.4 in site and construction. Tort was 276,000. Health, life, safety was 54,000. A lot of the money that we receive and those actual revenues, there's really 3 funding sources that are out there. We look at local, state, and federal. Majority of our money is coming from local taxes through EAV. We get a little bit of money through state with EBF funding, and then we get minimal kind of federal funding. So a lot of our money is coming from EAVs, and as we will talk about here in a little bit with tentative budget, the windmills have brought some revenue to our district that we did not have before, but we'll touch base a little bit there. Any questions so far? One of the things that you'll notice, probably what stands out to me is line 30, those revenues for actual revenues. We kind of underestimated there. We didn't quite get as many revenues under bond and interest. So next year we'll make sure that we levy for the full amount there. We also got some early tax money potentially, or we did not receive some of that. That early tax money went into FY24's numbers and not into this year's numbers, so there's a little bit of a discrepancy there. Once again, though, we have healthy fund balances as we go. If you move over to column H, proposed expenditures, you can just see what was proposed. We were proposed to spend 11 million, just 11.1 in education fund, 1.3 in O&M, kind of go down as you look there. Actual expenditures are in I. One thing that stands out is, let's see, column I, line 11. That 3.4 million, that looks like an expenditure. It is actually not an expenditure. That's just from transferring that money from working cash into site and construction. You'll notice that when we get down to the bottom. You can see down on line 22, column F, you see that 3.414 million. That's where that transfer went into. So you can see that listed there. If you look at proposed budgets there, you can kind of see in line, column K, as you go down. Last year in Ed Fund, we had a proposed budget of 1.8 million. 1.87 deficit is what we had in there. O&M proposed was 2.63 deficit. As you go down, you can see those numbers listed there. Where I really look at in this line is actually off to the right after column L. It says estimated budget surplus and deficit. This is kind of those actual estimated numbers that we have for how we did throughout the year. So what we can tell is in the Ed Fund, we were at a deficit of basically $700,000. In O&M, in line 20, we were a deficit of $205,000. Transportation, we actually were in the black, $284,000, which is pretty amazing. That's not typically where we are at. Now, that's been offset a little bit with CPPRT money that we've been getting over the last couple of years. And when we talk about the tentative budget for this year, I put a significant portion of our CPPRT money into that transportation line item because we're going to see the state prorating a lot of those payments. So we're going to see less and less money. So I'm trying to build a surplus in that area. So when we do get hit with some of those prorations, we'll have some money to feed off of. As you go down, like working cash, you're going to see that makes this number look kind of bad at a $3.2 million deficit, but that's expected, right? Those are expenditures to improve infrastructure. So it's expected that we're going to utilize that money because that went into site and construction and we spent that down. As you go down, bond and interest, once again, that was a big discrepancy there. Once again, we will make sure we levy for the full amount next year. We can also put our county facility sales tax money there, and that's what we do already. We'll talk about that when we get to the tentative budget. IMRF was a deficit, $79,000. Site construction, we ended with $506,000. A lot of that money is already being put toward the Vernon Jones project with the track and concession stand. Tort, you can see just a small deficit of 42. Health, life, safety, once again, we see a big deficit of 772,000, but once again, those are infrastructure improvements that we have that money there for that purpose. So it looks like we're down a lot, but we really aren't. So questions about that? We'll say one more thing. We're going to talk about this here in a minute, but if you go over to the last column, that is basically where we estimate all of our fund balances are at the end of June. So kind of where we're starting this current year. And if you look at those numbers, we're in pretty good shape across the board.
So the $700,000 deficit on the education fund, why do we have a $700,000 deficit on the education fund?
Because we spent more than we got in. I mean, that's basically the gist of it. We just kind of have over expenditures, and so that's something that we're kind of monitoring for this year. We added some new positions. That's part of it. Some new curriculums. I mean, there's a variety of reasons behind that. I can continue to look more into that, kind of the little things that have accrued. But when I made the deficit, or when I made the budget this year, once again, I did overestimate expenditures. I don't think that we will. My goal is that we will hopefully be close to the black this year. That also is due to a pretty large increase in EAV from the money the windows have generated. Yeah. But a lot of it is hiring people. Majority of it. But there's more. I can find out specifics for you and bring that back when we do our actual budget presentation in September 14th.
Cool, that'd be great.
Yep.
Thanks.
Anything else?
Okay, next up, tentative budget, sorry. All right, so, let's move this over. Once again, it's going to be hard to read if you are looking at the screen. But what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of start, it's set up a little bit differently now. We're going to kind of work our way down vertically. So if you look at column 3, that's the Ed Fund. Once again, you can see at the top on line 3, that is kind of our estimated starting point. Once again, those are not audited numbers. We'll know more once our auditor comes here in September. Local sources, if you kind of go down to column 3, line 11, you will see that we are expected to generate about $10.6 million in revenue.
If you compare that to last year we brought in actual revenue about 9.2. So we're projecting about 1.4 million additional dollars coming into the ed fund mostly from just more increased EAV and the wind turbines, majority of it. Along those lines, when I do the budgeting process, I utilize those conservative budgeting philosophy where I can underestimate revenue and overestimate expenditures. And so you're going to see maybe the revenues here actually a little bit lower than what we could get. Typically what I do when we look at EAV, I'm usually estimating about receiving 97% of that revenue, because there are people who, number one, don't pay taxes, so we won't receive it, or number two, they may challenge their assessment, and it actually could go down, so just trying to be conservative with that. As you keep going down, you can see the total disbursements and expenditures projected at 11.3, with an overall number of 692,000 in the deficit. So last year, we started the year with a $1.8 million deficit. This year, we're looking at 600,000. Once again, when we start to look at the future here, some of our investment money and interest money is not put into this yet. I have not put it in because I don't know exactly what it's going to look like for this upcoming school year, so I haven't even budgeted it. There will be some tweaks between now and September that will include some more of those revenues. So these numbers are obviously going to change between now and then. If you look at Fund 20, once again, starting balance, if you look up at column 4, line 3, 2.9 million is what we started, or what we were planning to start with. You can see we're going to bring in somewhere around 1.2 million is the projection. Total disbursements, maybe 1.34 million, with a deficit of 200,000, very similar to what we had last year. Debt service is column 30, column 5, I should say. We're starting with about 454,000. Should bring in about 1.219 million, all from the levy, and then expenditures are around 1.2, with about a $41,000 deficit. Once again, we're conservatively budgeting revenues and overestimating expenditures. Line 40, this one you can see actually we're pretty healthy in transportation, which is not typical from many years ago. But total revenues are estimated around 955,000. That number includes a few different things. Number one, we're projecting our state revenues on both regular transportation and special ed transportation to be lower. They have been prorated this year. I believe last year we got 79% of our regular 79% of our regular transportation numbers. This year's projected around 73, 71, 73. And then we're getting 71% of special ed proration last year. It's down to 63 this year. I went to a training recently, and they talked about next year potentially going down to 50% prorations. And so what we've done in here and what I've done is we get CPBRT money every year. It's a corporate personal property tax. We get about $465,000 a year. $250,000 of that has been put into transportation revenue. So we're trying to build that up so that we have a heavy fund balance. So when we do start to see that proration, we'll have some money in there. Down at the bottom, you can see we're expecting to spend around $821,000 to actually be in the black there for $134,000. 50 is IMRF and Social Security, beginning balance $341, revenues will be around $377,000, projecting to expend around $397,000 with a $20,000 deficit. Once again, overinflating those expenditures. Capital projects starting with 685. We have about 157.5 in there for revenues coming in. That's from a couple of different places, revenue sources. That's from county facility sales tax. We get around $70,000 from the 1% sales tax from Hyatt County. And then we also get, well, this will be the first year ever, but we will get McLean County sales tax, which is expected to bring in around $80,000 a year. Now, we've done two things with that money. I took Hyatt County's money to start and split that in half, put 37.5 of that into 30, which is debt service to pay out outstanding bonds. So we're paying down that debt that we have to help the taxpayer. The rest of that money, that 80,000 at 37.5, is going into special projects, capital projects, which can be utilized for just that. That's money that can be used for any projects that we have upcoming, including potentially a playground at some point in Snyder. So.
Shed first, yeah. You know, we're hoping, we're reaching big.
And something just to put it out
Yep.
on the record, remind people on that, when the Pike County sales tax was passed many years ago, we helped kind of like advertise it, I guess is the best word I could use, telling people that they should vote yes. And at that time, the board that I was part of, we did say that we would use part of that money, we never gave like a percentage or anything, to go towards bond and interest, so that we were paying off debt with part of that money is what we said we would do. So when finance committee met last week, I'm like, I just feel really good that at least part of the Pike County money needs to continue to do that, just because that's what that board said at the time, but then that way we're just being, you know, staying on that same path as what we can. It's not a lot of money, but it's something towards the debt, so.
Just so you know, Out of Capital Projects is also where we are paying for the track concession stand project. We have around $288,000 left to pay on that project. So we do have a pretty good fund balance in there, around 400,000 somewhere, a little bit less than that, around 370-ish. We do have a potential couple of big projects. One we'll talk about tonight is the concrete work that will kind of connect the parking lot, concession stand, and track. And then the septic system will also come out of that as well, which has already been approved. But just wanted to throw those in there. Working cash, you can see 602,000. That's a healthy number there. We're projected to bring in 100,000, and you don't spend that in that area, so there's no expenditures. Toward, you can see we started in that's Fund 80. Sorry, 114 to begin. We have revenues coming in, hopefully around 400,000, projecting around 390 in expenditures. Hopefully ending up in the black there as well for the year. And then fire prevention and safety, 2.2 million is where we started, right? Those are all those HLS projects that we have going on. That's money that we bonded for many years ago, I guess a couple years ago, we would say. And then we do have about 97,000 coming in from local tax money for that. And then we're going to spend somewhere around 690,000. Now, once again, that's money that we know is being spent for infrastructure improvements. We've had that money in there because we know we're going to spend it to do different things in our building. That money is basically going to be utilized for the window project, the asbestos abatement, and then we're going to have tuck pointing at both Snyder and at the Mansfield building. There will also be some fire door replacements at Snyder. And there's just a little bit extra in case we can get to other projects that may come about. We'll have a facilities meeting in October, where we'll kind of look at some short-term and long-term projects, and so we can kind of start identifying then too, what are some of those next steps that we want to take with HLS projects. If you go to the next page, and you go all the way down to line 81, and you go across, those are the estimated or kind of proposed fund balances at the end of next school year. $6.8 million in the ed fund, 2.7 in O&M, 412 in debt service, 1.2 in transportation, kind of as you go across there. So overall, it's looking pretty healthy. You know, my goal, hopefully, by the time we're able to go through our tweaks and kind of know more knowns and unknowns, we still don't know all of our revenues. We still have expenditures that we're still trying to figure out. Some of the numbers in here are definitely estimates. This is an estimate in the beginning because there's still a lot of numbers that we just don't have yet. As we get those numbers, we'll be able to tighten them up, and we'll have a better idea in September of where we'll actually be. What questions do you have for me?
With respect to the transportation, has our operating efficiency improved? What's switched here from being dire circumstances to having a good balance?
That's a good question. I don't know 100%. I can find out more in research. I'm
We
not sure
lease
exactly. I
buses.
think a lot of it's,
We lease buses.
Oh, I know
yeah,
that.
that was
That's what
before. We
changed it.
owned them before, yeah.
Yeah,
good
that's
point.
what changed it. Our transportation fund has been much better ever since we started leasing instead of owning the buses. We were bleeding heavily prior.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, a short answer is it's leasing buses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, our bus.
With respect to the corporate personal property replacement tax, do you get a list of the entities that?
Yeah, you can find it online. It's available to everyone.
Okay.
Yep.
I'd
You
be
go
very
on and
curious-
search
very
CPBRT. Yeah,
about
and
that?
so actually some of the numbers that came out, I think 2 years ago, we received about 700,000. There was a huge drop. Last year it went to 465. Actually, this year it increased to 475. There's about a 2.06% increase across the entities this year. I won't go into a lot of it, but EBF was really impacted this year because CPS moved to Tier 1. And that was because CPS lost $300+ million of CPPRT money. But yeah, CPPRT money has really fluctuated over the past few years.
Okay, thank you.
Ryan?
Yes.
The budget does account for the higher assessed values on properties, right? So even with the higher assessed values on properties, we're still looking at running a $700,000 deficit in the upcoming year. Potentially.
Potentially.
Potentially, but we've got to drill into the numbers.
Yes,
of course.
yeah. This is the tentative piece, so this is definitely raw, and it's a guess. I worked with a financial coach, Randy Merker, who was a superintendent for a long time at the DROE, he's in Hayworth and some other places, but I worked with Vic Zimmerman too, who's the former Monticello superintendent, who's my ISA mentor. We actually went line by line on Monday and went through everything, and he's just like, this is a guess. You know, it's a guess, especially the first year that you're doing this, number one, because there's a lot of unknowns. Number two, it's just a guess anyway, because we're still waiting to hear some revenue numbers. We're still waiting to make sure all of our expenditures are where they need to be. And so hopefully in September, there will be a lot better idea. We will know a better idea of where we're going to be. I do not think we'll be at the $700,000 deficit mark.
Because you're guessing lower revenues and higher costs.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Okay, if not, I need a motion and a second to approve the tentative budget for Blue Ridge Community Unit School District 18 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. David and Yeagle.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Up next is resolution to place the tentative FY26 budget on display and set a time and date for the public hearing.
Yeah, this is just a routine part of what you have to do as a school district. Anytime that you have your tentative budget, you have to have it displayed for 30 days prior to the budget hearing and before the budget being approved. So I'm recommending that we do a public hearing that can be set for 6:50 p.m. on September 17th prior to the scheduled board meeting that starts at 7.
I'm assuming no one has any questions. I need a motion and a second to approve the resolution to place the tentative budget for 2025-2026 on display in the Office of the Superintendent, District Office 411 North John Street, Farmers City, Illinois, for 30 days for review by the public.
So moved.
Larson?
Second?
Is that Jason?
No, it's Josh.
Oh, Josh, sorry.
Yes.
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 Yes. Up next is resolution of Blue Ridge CUSD 18 adopting the 2024 DeWitt County Multi-Jurisdictional All Hazards Mitigation Plan.
Okay, that's a long one. So every county in the United States has to submit a hazard mitigation plan. And so this resolution basically makes us a participant in the DeWitt County hazard mitigation plan. This is important for a couple of reasons. Number one, when you are a participant in the hazard mitigation plan, you are or have the opportunity to receive funding from IEMA and FEMA for different projects that the plan meets. And so basically, if we adopt this today, this makes us eligible for these funding sources through FEMA and IEMA. This was some work that was done prior with Dr. Stanifer. She had been meeting, because when I got this, I was like, what is this? This is brand new, I've never seen this before. So I actually reached out to, I think his name is Ken Runkle. He's the liaison who was kind of coordinating all of this. One of the things that we actually have in our plan for Blue Ridge is potentially, if we would receive funding, getting generators for all 3 buildings. The funding would help support that. So if we ever have power loss and those type of things, we would be able to continue on with our daily activities while, you know, others would have power. So that's important because we need flushing toilets, and we need the ability to have our computer presentations, you know, ViewSonics and other things, lights, super critical, right, to see. So this would just be an opportunity. If the key is it's if the funding becomes available. We don't know if it will, but in order to even be eligible to receive it, you have to be a part of this resolution. So yeah, my recommendation is to approve that.
Okay. There are no questions or comments. I need a motion and a second to approve the resolution of adoption of the DeWitt County Hazard Mitigation Plan for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So.
Yeagle.
Second.
Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Up next is approval of concrete work for Memorial Plaza.
Okay, so we talked a little bit about it earlier, as kind of mentioned, it was kind of built into some of the funds here in the budget tentatively. But the concrete work at Memorial Plaza is really kind of one of the final pieces that we have. So we've reached out to a couple of different individuals. At the last minute, one of the individuals said that he would not be able to provide a bid to us. Vernon Jones was able to do that. The number is listed right there of what it would cost. It's essentially kind of a change order. So what initially happened is that when they designed the project, all that was designed was a sidewalk from the track to the parking lot, like a sidewalk. That was it. And when the Memorial Plaza Committee was meeting, they thought that it really needed to be all tied in together to have this one big space. And so what this concrete work does is it connects the parking lot, it connects it to the concession, all the way to the track. So it's just kind of that one surface of concrete, just to make it kind of seamless as you walk out. With our site construction money, we do have money available. That was a question that I did have. And yeah, there is money in Fund 60 that was built in for, well, it's available there.
My concern that I mentioned to you in my email, I just want to make sure that we're not doing something that's going to have to be undone or changed later. And my only concern is that we don't have final plans for the Memorial Plaza yet, right?
We don't have the final renderings for what the inside will look like. So basically, all that's left is just kind of the cosmetic pieces of the brickwork that's going to go. It's kind of like a sitting wall. So it shouldn't be a big, I'm actually meeting with the Memorial Plaza Committee on the 26th or 27th, just in a couple of weeks, and that's where we'll finalize kind of that drawing and what it'll look like. Might even have it a little bit earlier, but all they're wanting to do is basically get the 2 posts in, because that's where the Rittenhouse Memorial will be. And then from off of those posts, they want to do some brickwork around the posts, and then have 2 kind of maybe smaller brick walls that kind of run off of those posts. One of the posts will actually, one of the brick walls will have those 3 limestone stones that each of the 3 original schools, you know, came off of the building, so Mansfield, Bellflower, and Farmer City.
Okay.
Moore
So
Township.
we know where we're going to put the concrete.
Yeah.
Well, that's what
Yes,
I'm getting. I
no.
just don't want it to be,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
know where
To
that's going
redo
to
it?
go.
Yeah, I don't want to redo it.
Nobody wants to redo it. No, I agree.
Good deal.
So is that part of this bid then, that whatever they do with the concrete will be compatible with Memorial Plaza?
Yeah, so they would do the footings, or they would figure out, you know, where that enforced piece needs to be correct for the 2 brick pieces. So one of the reasons, so what will happen next if this is approved, actually, Mr. Easter and I, Mr. Kirkton, Rusty will go out tomorrow and look at where those posts will be set, because they'll put in those posts prior to the concrete work going down. And then that will be the part, but so that next part though, the brickwork, that is not included in, was not included in the actual original Vernon Jones bid. That would be something that we would do in addition to. That kind of came through the Memorial Plaza project originally, you know, because it wasn't going to be quite as elaborate, but as we added stone and kind of adding some of those pieces, which will make it a beautiful place, it really will. There's a little bit of an additional expense that will be there, but we do have money available in site and construction to help that.
Are there any provisions that need to be made to the concrete on top, like a curb or anything for the brickwork to sit on, so that you don't have any kind of water problems and freezing troubles with a brick wall on top?
I will ask Rusty about that. That's kind of out of my forte.
Just don't want it to, once and done, that'd be great.
So just kind of,
I don't,
just
yeah.
kind of drainage or,
Well, it should all drain, but
yeah.
with what we're planning in mind for the memorial. That way we don't have to go back and tear anything out. I mean, one thing to have the footing, but if you have water sitting on top and you're putting brick directly on top of that, and you have frost heaving, frost getting in between the brick and the concrete, I just don't know if that's going to be a problem or not.
Okay. I will relay that to Rusty and we will find out.
Might be nothing to even worry about.
Yeah.
But
No, like I said, bricklaying and concrete work is not necessarily my forte, so I will ask that question for sure.
I think for me, the only thing I hate is that there's only one quote,
Yeah,
and it's not cheap, so.
it's not. It's a lot of concrete. I will say that. It's a big space.
how many different people did we go out to for quotes on it?
2.
Just 2?
Yeah, Vernon Jones and then the other individual listed.
It's too late to go out for more quotes?
If we want to get it done by September 12th,
Yeah.
before the homecoming game, yeah. I don't know, I'm not sure how much of a difference it would be. There's 2 different companies that Vernon Jones works with. This was the bid that.
But they did add it as a change order price also?
Essentially, it's a change order, yeah. Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Again, I have a lot of thoughts going through my head of, that Mr. Easter said earlier, that if things got delayed, well, then would the other person possibly be able to give us a quote if we're talking not September 12th, and we're talking September 26th, or we're talking the first weekend in October, I don't know. It's just a high number. And it's a bad one to feel like we only have one.
Mm-hmm.
To say, is this reasonable? I don't know. I don't do a lot of concrete, so I don't know.
Yeah, it is a lot of concrete, it's a lot of earth moving too, if you look out there.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to
It's
prep
a
the
lot of
ground a
work.
lot,
It's
there's a lot to do.
There's a lot of things to remove, excavate, straighten out. It's,
If you look at what we're gonna spend on that for the shed, extrapolate that out, it's probably not
How many
That's
square
true.
feet?
far off.
That's true.
it's on that sheet, I think.
I don't wanna say far off, it's good for concrete, so I would say it's probably, it could make sense if you extrapolate that.
Yeah. When you look at that, yeah, like what the pad, just for the shed cost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You take this area,
Yeah, you're
yeah,
multiplying.
A lot of shed space.
yeah. I guess it's just when you look at the number, it's like, oh, it's painful.
The other quote, I think there were concerns with grading. Wasn't that part of the reason that you didn't want to bid it?
I think it was, number one, the time,
Oh.
and I think it was also because they, personnel-wise, I don't know if they felt like they had some other projects happening at the same time. I think they had lost personnel, and so they didn't know if they would have enough time to get it done.
I hate to be in a hurry especially with only one bid. It'd be nice to have it done, I agree, but I don't wanna rush into an $80,000 or $75,000. I mean, I don't know either. I don't know what it costs. It
Yeah,
should
I
be
mean,
nice to have
you
some
know, you
additional
spend the
bids.
75,000 and it's ready to go, and hopefully September 12th, we have a field to play football on, or, you know, we don't do it, and we
do
have
have a
football
football
games,
field.
it's a mess.
Yeah.
You know, it's a mess out there. I'll be honest, it's a mess.
I walked around out there tonight.
Yeah. And it's gonna be difficult for staff to get things removed and so on, and, I don't know how much of a difference there will be. We don't have that second
Yeah.
vote, we just don't. I mean, this is a project that, yeah.
Is Vernon Jones the ones doing the check?
Mm-hmm.
Would it feel any different if it was a change order from Vernon Jones?
Change orders just usually have a heavier cost whenever you change your plans. So that's why a lot of the second bid would benefit us, because it might be down 15 to 20%. And I think that's what we figure on change orders for our other bids, is that we're going to be charged at least 15% if we change our minds on how things go.
What kind of condition were Vernon Jones supposed to leave the ground in when they're finished with the track? Is it supposed to be leveled and sodded, or for the entryway there?
It's a good question. I'm not sure.
I mean, definitely not how it is now.
No, I'm sure.
I mean, if it's their
so bad,
responsibility to get it
isn't it?
walkable,
Just
then
be
I don't think
honest.
we have as much to be concerned about
The mess part.
with the mess part.
Yeah, that part has not been shared with me. I mean, the other part is you don't approve, and then we can see if we can get a second bid, and we can do a vote via email, if we can do something sooner, you know, we can see. And that's what, but then you're, yeah, I don't know.
I really don't
what
like it.
happened. I don't know if we'd be able to get it done.
I doubt we'd be able to find somebody with that timeframe, since Vernon Jones is already here. I mean, as long as the concrete is, Vernon Jones knows we plan on putting brick walls on top of it. So it's probably about the best we're gonna get, as long as it's rated for that.
And we'll be ready for that.
Okay.
And they're already on site, so we're saving mobilization costs for another contractor to come in?
It's the same contractor, yeah, same contractor that's been doing the whole work from the very beginning, so.
But like, if somebody else had to come in, they have
Yeah.
costs to mobilize their people to get here. And Vernon Jones is already,
All that equipment's already gone, though.
I mean, there's no concrete.
so
there's no
they're coming back
concrete.
anyways.
Yeah.
They're coming back.
Subcontract on the concrete.
I mean, I agree, it looks expensive, but concrete is the part that you hope to last the life of the thing.
I hope the whole thing lasts. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's all in a life cycle.
Yeah, I think if we looked at that pre-K shed, going back to that 16 by 20 shed, and you're looking at this space, it's a 76 by,
Changes a lot through there.
yeah, it changes a lot. I mean, it's hard to get an exact, by 12 by, I mean, it's a substantially large
Lot of
space.
concrete.
It's a lot of concrete.
Yeah, I'm inclined to move forward with this.
When you compare those numbers, it helps it a little bit to be like, okay, so this much for that, if
And
you
that was
take it times 4,
11,000,
yeah.
right? And you're talking, it's at least 5 times bigger than what we've done here. I would say it's pretty close.
And it'll be done, maybe.
Plus all the curbs and everything else.
Still
you're gonna
weather
do, too.
permitting, too?
I'm more concerned about the sod.
I would agree that probably our best bet to move forward, so I don't know if we're gonna get anybody with lower cost than the timeframe we're looking for.
just call it. If there's no other thoughts, I need a motion and a second to approve the Memorial Plaza concrete work for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Yeagle and I think that was Josh.
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, up next is discussion and approval to sell old and unused Blue Ridge uniforms.
Okay, so they were cleaning out the space above the gym, or next to the gym, at the high school. Above the gym, and there's a large collection of old equipment, old jerseys, a lot of things that are no longer using that are taking up tons of space. And so we're trying to create some additional space while also bringing in some revenue for some of our programs. And so the idea was thrown around that at some of our upcoming events like homecoming, could we sell some of those items to make some revenue for those programs? There's been some ideas about, is it a silent auction? Is it gift? What do we do? I mean, that's still kind of be determined, but we're trying to get money to bring in to support different things going on while also creating a lot of the space that's needed to store things.
I think it's a great idea to sell off those things, especially if people are actually out there wanting them. The only hiccup I have is I'd like to see it go to more than just the athletic department, or if there's a larger fund where it hits any and all extracurriculars versus just athletics.
Something that I've had thoughts about too is how you're auctioning it off or selling it. Like you can, a few items at a time, I think you'd mentioned, record board or something like that out, just a couple items, and you might get higher dollar amounts for them. And you could use them for boosters, whatever events you want to, but, boosters for the football program or, whatever. Yeah. Do it at the homecoming game or, something where you have a lot of parents there and they're, bidding, like the, what's the one at the Legion? Yeah.
I think the only hard part about that is like, I think some of these have like nostalgia, somebody might find their actual jersey.
Yeah.
Where if it's at Cash Bash, this is a random jersey that doesn't have any meaning to me.
Oh,
Where, if you're at something like this, it may be more meaningful if it's a specific thing you're looking for. So I see both sides.
That could be good, having somebody come and get their original jersey. Mm-hmm. But I think for some of the other items, those would be fun for auctioning off. But yeah, free up some space. That was great.
Okay, I need a motion and a second to approve the sale of old and unused athletic uniforms for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So moved.
Sid?
Second.
Jason?
Yes.
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 Yes. Up next is approval of paraprofessional position.
Yeah, last month I actually sent an email regarding the approval of the new para position at Snyder. It was approved via email, but I just wanted to make it formal with the options in it.
So I need a motion and a second to approve a new Schneider Elementary paraprofessional for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented.
So moved.
Sid?
Second.
Larson?
Yes.
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 Yes. Next is approval of at-will paraprofessional position.
Okay, so just on Monday, we had a late registration at VRJHS. The student came in with a one-on-one in his IEP, or student's IEP. And so we would like to hire a one-on-one at-will aide. We will kind of reassess and kind of see his needs throughout, but an at-will aide just kind of means that, when he's there, he's in that position, or that person is hired for that day. If he is not at school or she is not at school, whoever it may be, that
I need a motion and a second to approve an at-will paraprofessional for Blue Ridge CUSD 18 as presented?
So moved.
Sid?
Second.
Yeagle?
Josh Vaughn,
Yes.
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
Dave Gingrich,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.
Jonathan Gable,
Yes.
Jonathan Larson,
Yes.
Francie Miller.
Yes. And I need a motion and a second to move from open session to closed session for the purpose of appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, dismissal, specific employees of the school district, collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes at 8:27.
So moved.
Sid?
Second.
Yeagle?
Jonathan Gable,
Yes.
Jason Nolan,
Yes.
David Harris,
Yes.